Hi, good morning, students and cook enthusiasts. I am doing a recipe today, which is something I created a little while back. It's a bread and butter bobotie. So it's a little bit of a play on bobotie, but all good. I have taken my mask off because I'm shooting. But please remember, if you're around other people, make sure you're wearing your mask and sanitize your hands, sanitize your boards. Make sure everything is hygienic.
Chef, can I ask a question, please? Would you be able to use, because in your recipe book you've used ostrich mince, so could you use lamb mince? Could you do a mixture of mince?
Absolutely. Okay, good question from Debs, our amazing principal. In my cookbook it's ostrich mince, but today we've gone for a beef mince, but you can use absolutely anything. Lamb, I do discourage using complete lamb because it's a little bit too fatty, but I would either add that with some beef mixed together and then you have a beautiful flavor. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our baby onions and we're going to chop those. Nice and fine. We're just going to pop it into a little bowl, put it aside. The next thing I'm going to do is slice my mushrooms. We've got some beautiful big brown mushrooms. So we'll start with that. And the secret to mushrooms as well is make sure you don't wash them because they're like a sponge. They take on the water and actually become very soggy when you cook them. So nice and fine. Remember, this is a nice beautiful rustic dish, so you don't have to spend too much time getting equal cuts. Yeah, mushrooms are all chopped. We're going to put that into a little bowl on the side. Remember guys, this is what we call mise en place, and that's your pre-preparation. As long as this is all in a row, you know that your dish is going to be a lot easier to prepare. Okay, and next what we have is we have a beautiful chunk of ham here, which we're going to cube. If you don't want to use ham, you can use smoked beef or smoked chicken, depending on your religious beliefs or halal. But I'm a fond user of pork, so we're going to cut that into little cubes.
Chef, could you use bacon if you wanted to?
You could definitely use bacon if you wanted to.
Okay.
I just find sometimes we tend to use bacon too much. Okay. So there are so many different variants. So rather keep your bacon for baking dishes. Otherwise you end up using, because I could put bacon on anything. I'd use it all the time.
Okay, got
So
you.
nice cubes.
Okay. Nice.
And into a bowl. Okay, next thing what we're going to do is we're going to take some normal sliced bread from your supermarket and we're going to take the crusts off. But you don't throw away the crust, you keep the crust, you dry them out and you use it to crumb your chicken or something like that, yeah? So, just take that off.
Chef, could you use brown bread if you wanted to?
You definitely could use brown bread if you wanted to. I just feel that this recipe calls for that white bread. It has a different texture, and as I say, if you were making a bread and butter pudding, you would use exactly the same white bread.
Exactly, okay. And I mean, whatever old sliced bread you have at home, you could use up. Yeah?
Never throw anything away, guys. Yeah. Absolutely, every part of the meal can be used. As I say, we take this, we dry it out, and we use it for crumbs. Let's just do the last two slices. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, now that we've taken the crust off the bread, we're going to take some butter, which we've just put into the microwave and melted a bit, and give it a nice generous coating of butter. Okay, both sides, so just flip it over, we'll put it on the next side, and you continue doing that until all your bread has been buttered.
So Chef, I can actually understand why you say lamb mince would be a little bit too much oiliness with all the butter going
Now remember,
into the
we're
bread.
going to be using an egg custard, we're going to be using the butter, so there's a lot of there's a lot of fats in that
So
too.
it would be best to stick away from lamb mince, definitely.
Okay, let's just turn it over. And there we go. Okay, now that our bread has been buttered on both sides, we're going to carry on with our recipe. The first thing I'm going to do is take one clove of garlic and finely slice it. Right, so what I've done, I've finely sliced my garlic, but we're going to turn that into a paste. So we're going to use some beautiful Oryx salt, And why we do that? So that the garlic doesn't disperse all over the place. So you take our knife, put the blade towards ourselves, and you just push. And you paste it in very fine. You can see how the garlic stays together just by having the salt. Garlic's made into a paste. You're just going to take it and put it into a little bowl. Next thing, we're going to put our pan on to a nice heat. You can see it's already been heated. I'm going to take a little bit of canola oil. Just give it a little squirt of canola. And the first thing I'm going to do is saute my mince. Okay, most important thing is to make sure that you season it. Remember, always season your food, guys. Some pepper. And give it a nice little mix together. Break it up, and the pan should be warm enough to give it some color. Okay, and you'll find that a lot of times the recipes they tell you to put the onions in first. Guys, you can't do that. Brown your meat first. It has some beautiful color. I wish you guys could smell how nice this mince. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, just give it some nice color. Don't move it around too much, otherwise it's not going to cook. So give it some beautiful heat. Okay, so what you do want to do is give it some nice color. It's going to caramelize that meat. It's going to give it a lot better texture, especially mince. Remember, it's quite soft, so you want to give it a nice blend. And what we do is we make sure that our mince is an 80-20 mix. 80% meat, 20% fat. I have perfect coloring on my mince. I need to just taste it again. Definitely needs more salt. And a bit more pepper. We're then going to move and saute our onions, pan on, give it a little bit of heat. Some canola oil again. Remember, when you are sauteing, use canola oil because of the temperatures of the oil. They can actually raise to what you're looking for. Otherwise, the oil just seeps into the food. And we're just going to give that about a minute or two just to heat up. Okay, so now where are we at? We've got our onion sliced. We're going to throw it into our pan, which we've heated up. Give that some color. Remember, once again, season your food. So onion needs some salt. Pepper, and we're just going to caramelize these onions a little bit. Now that we have some beautiful color on our onions, we're going to put that aside. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Right, now using the same pan, because we don't want to dirty too many dishes, we put it back onto the heat, a little bit more canola. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to saute my ham. I want to give the ham some beautiful crystallization on the outside. Make sure that it gets nice crystallization all over. Debbie, you had a question for me?
I did have a question. I just want to ask you about the onion. You used white onion. Would it be okay to use spring onion or red onion?
Once again, certain dishes would be better with spring onion. This wouldn't. Spring onion to me is more, it's like a very surface garnish or something that gives you, because you still want that, and it's nice to finely sliced. This is going to be different. And red onions save it for things like curries and that, where you want that sweetness.
Okay, thank you.
Have a look, guys. Ham's ready, some beautiful color on the outside. Put it into your bowl and put it aside. Once again, as you see, I'm using the same pan because we're going to have all those beautiful flavors into the pan. We're going to add some canola again. Not excessive amount of oil, just a little bit, just to coat the bottom of the pan. Give it a nice swirl around, let it heat up, and then we're going to add our mushrooms. And remember, most important thing is season your food with salt and pepper. So some pepper on the mushrooms and some beautiful salt, and then we're just going to let those mushrooms cook, not too much because you want to still have some texture. You don't want to overcook your mushrooms. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? one of my favorite ingredients, mushrooms. Guys, the important thing as well is don't say you hate mushrooms. Every variety has a different flavor, different texture. Please try them, and they are so beautiful in all kinds of dishes. Love, love, love mushrooms. We are going to make our egg custard. So we start off with 2 whole eggs. Pop it in. Add our milk. Give it a little whisking. And remember, salt and pepper. Okay, here we go, B. The last ingredient, we have our custard, which has been seasoned, egg yolks and milk. Okay, we don't want to sweeten it up, we don't want to put sugars in there because that's not what we're looking for. So we're looking for a savory custard here. And now let's get going. So before we carry on, I'm just going to sanitize my board, sanitize my hands, and move on to the next step. Right, now all our mise en place or pre-preparation is done. Now we're going to assemble our bread and butter pudding, and we will start with getting a nice oven-proof bowl. We are going to put a layer of bread down. Okay, we're going to mix our mince into a bigger bowl. Add our chopped ham, caramelized onions, get that all in there. Favorite ingredient apart from bacon, mushrooms. Remember students, clean as you go, keep it nice, keep it tidy. And lastly, I'm just going to add my garlic to my custard. With a nice swirl around. Right. Get all those ingredients mixed nicely so you have it all even. Remember, each item has been seasoned, so we don't have to worry about seasoning now. And we start with our first layer. Okay. Give it some custard. Next layer of bread. Push it down. Add your next layer. Got all that bit?
Yeah.
So we've got our second layer in. We're going to top it with our custard again. Right. And just before we put it into the oven, we're going to take some of our crust that we didn't use, and we're going to chop it into little chunks. This is going to give it a beautiful crusty edge on top as you bake it. I'm going to add that together with my cheese. So I have some cheddar cheese here. Could use mozzarella or anything like that. Once again, I think cheddar's underused, so nice to use cheddar for a change. And then right on top, we're going to put that in. Give it some, push it down, get some beautiful custard into all the layers. Cheese is going to gratinate. We're going to put it into the oven, 180 degrees for 45 minutes until it's golden brown on top. Remember, all your items are cooked inside, so just all you're going to do now is cook that custard and get the top gratinated. So there we have it. Beef, ham, mushroom, onion, bread and butter pudding.